For some people, sales seems like an awkward thing, or it's a weird thing. And I wanted to just start with that. Like, have you always had a comfortable, association with sales? Is it something that came naturally to you?
I have to give a mixed answer to that. Is that no, emotionally, it didn't come easily to me because I had some of the same blockages that a lot of people have. Strangely, we humans often have this tendency to attach our self identity to the response of a prospect. So when a prospect says no, we don't feel the no against the product or against the service. We take the no personally. And so matter of fact, it's the same kind of resistance that somebody has to say, like, going up to a girl and asking her out. Like, it's amazing that we're willing to sacrifice the potential, whatever that relationship might have been, over the 5 seconds of rejection that we might have faced. And the same thing happens in sales, obviously. On the other side, while I was uncomfortable with that, I had a very entrepreneurial mind as a kid, so I lived on quite a busy road in Halifax, Nova Scotia, and what I would routinely do is sell stuff in front of my house. And of course, when the winter came, I would go door to door and knock on doors and sell snow removal services. I'd shovel sidewalks, and in the fall, when the leaves came down, I would fill up garbage bags full of leaves from the neighbors. And as a matter of fact, I had a really interesting sales lesson from that. Is that I went to go do this guy's house. I raked up all the leaves, and he came out when I was halfway through the job because I was charging by the bag. And he came out and lifted one of the bags up, and he's like, "This bag is light. You're not packing as much into the bag as you could." And of course, in my head, I'm like, the bag looks full, right? It looks full because it's full of fluffy leaves. But then he's like, "No, look, you can pack it down like this, and you can pack it down and you can get like twice as many leaves in it." And on one side, I'm like 9 or 10 years old, and I'm thinking, yeah, but that's like twice as much work for half the money. But the guy then said to me, he goes, "But here's the deal, is if you pack these bags full, then you'll develop a reputation as somebody who's really, like, your clients will see you packing it full, and then they will know that paying by the bag is absolutely worth it because you're really creating value." And from then on, I went out and packed the bags full, and guess what? It boosted business. Like, people like, "This kid works so hard," and then I got tips, and it was amazing. So I guess I had a resistance to it, like many people, but I had a grander purpose, and that was, I wanted to make money, and I enjoyed adding value for people. So that pushed me to overcome whatever nervousness I felt about selling.
Yeah, I often associate the fear that we have around selling often to the fear that some of us have when it comes to public speaking. There's that vulnerability that is required for you to show up and maybe speak your mind without knowing if you'll get full acceptance. Is that a parallel that you often make as well, or do you see some fundamental differences?
I think that, in a very real sense, it's the same thing. Only some people will be more freaked out by the rejection of one, and other people will be more freaked out by the potential rejection of 200. So if you think about when somebody's afraid of public speaking, what they're really afraid of, I mean, because they're not afraid of death or injury, right? I mean, it's not like that anymore. So what are they really afraid of? They're afraid of some level of social rejection. And so what is being afraid of sales? Well, it's afraid of public speaking to one or to two or three, depending on the room that you're selling to. So I'd say it's rooted in some of the very same stuff, and it has a great deal to do with self-esteem issues, and it has a great deal to do with perspective problems. So, we talk to our WildFit coaches quite a lot about this, because some of them, I mean, they're so committed to helping people turn their life around, reverse their diabetes, lose weight, and all that kind of stuff. But then they feel afraid to sell. And I'm like, well, hold on a second now. What if you just did this? What if you looked at your prospect? What if you looked at that prospect and you imagined two futures for that prospect? One is the future where you didn't help, and what the long-term effects of their obesity and diabetes and all this kind of stuff might be. And the other one is where you did help, and how different their life is, the quality of life, the money they'd saved, the suffering they avoided, the longer they lived potentially. Now I want you to weigh up the difference in that against the 45 seconds of rejection you might feel. So are you really going to hold back saving this person's life to avoid 45 seconds of rejection that you're going to have forgotten about by the time you have breakfast tomorrow morning? And that perspective often shifts gears for people.
Oh, that's a powerful framing. I absolutely love it. I think that in the moment, it feels very paralyzing. And then when you give it perspective, as you say, you realize the impact of you not taking action. And I'm
Yeah.
hoping for anybody listening here, you know what is the value that you're looking to provide. And if sales seems to be the barrier, I think this example shared by Eric is a powerful way to give yourselves perspective. And well, I'll clap a little bit and congratulate you. You're already listening to a sales podcast. So you are learning, you are taking the steps in the right direction.